No one can say for certain what happens after we die. It's the great unknown that we all will face. But what if our existence wasn't temporary? What if there was life after death? How long can your brain stay active after death? Could your loved ones still communicate with you? And does your body contain the zombie gene? These are just some of the possibilities we'll explore from now on, so get comfortable because we're about to begin. According to a 2013 study, 72% of Americans believe in an afterlife, and some individuals, like Professor Robert Lanza, have proposed a theory that death is merely a product of our imagination. This theory suggests that death has no real boundaries to define it, and therefore it simply isn't real in the way we've been taught to accept. We perceive the sky as blue, but if the cells in our brain were to change and make us think the sky was green, our perception of reality might just be a flawed program. So, is the sky really blue, or is it all in our minds? If our final moments on Earth are just an illusion, does that mean you could come back from death? At what point do you stop being alive and become dead? First, remember that death is a process, not an absolute, and for 95% of people, the process starts when the heart stops beating. After that, breathing stops and your muscles lose their tension. It's only a matter of time before your brain shuts down, but you're not entirely gone just yet. A study called AWARE, conducted during resuscitation, examined thousands of cardiac arrest survivors who had been declared dead. Some of the people interviewed recalled the exact moments of their death and described seeing and hearing the events that led to their resuscitation. How is this possible? Well, it appears that your brain can remain active for up to 10 minutes after your heart stops beating. This means you could hear the doctor declaring you dead. 9% of people who had a near-death experience described floating above their bodies, connected by an invisible cord. While you might hear everything happening around you, your body would remain lifeless, with no oxygen or blood flowing to your organs. The concept of the afterlife varies significantly across the world's religions, reflecting deeply rooted cultural, philosophical, and spiritual beliefs. In Christianity, many denominations teach that the afterlife is a duality between heaven and hell. Those who have lived according to the principles of the faith are rewarded with entry into heaven, where they enjoy the presence of the divine. Conversely, those who have strayed from righteousness face the possibility of punishment in hell. There's also the belief in purgatory, an intermediate state of purification for souls before their ascent to heaven. In Hinduism, the afterlife is understood within the ongoing cycle of birth and rebirth, known as samsara. The belief in the law of karma plays a crucial role, determining the soul's fate. After death, the soul may reincarnate into a new body based on the actions and merits accumulated in past lives. The ultimate goal is to achieve moksha, the liberation from the cycle of reincarnation, reaching union with the divine. These interpretations illustrate the diversity of perspectives on the afterlife, respecting the richness and complexity of religious traditions around the world. But what would be happening inside your body? While rigor mortis sets in and your muscles begin to stiffen, other cells are coming into play. Within the next 12 hours, your body starts to shut down completely. And during this time, certain genes activate inflammatory cells called glial cells to clean out the inside of your brain. These cells continue to expand and thrive as your body cools and other systems shut down. These so-called zombie genes develop arm-like appendages and expand while the genes in your brain disintegrate. But once you're dead, could your loved ones communicate with you again? Before the development of infrared photography, seances were common among families and friends who wanted to speak with their deceased loved ones. Today, we have the technology to prove when a spiritual encounter is fake. But since we don't have definitive proof of an afterlife, it's understandable why many people find comfort in the idea of communicating with their deceased loved ones. But what if we had proof of what happens after death? If we could prove that something else awaits us after leaving our bodies, our perception of this life might lose its intensity, but the end of our lives might not be a spiritual experience. Instead of seeing a white light, you might see ones and zeros. Ray Kurzweil, Director of Engineering at Google, predicts that we could upload digital copies of our brains online. If your consciousness were transferred to the cloud, your mind could live on as long as the server remained active. So, maybe it's worth considering some backup storage. If we could prove there's life after death, you might view yourself and your life with a renewed sense of wonder and appreciation for what you have now. But what if you didn't have time to appreciate your life on Earth? Would you continue living as you do, or would you change?